published, 17:30 Eastern Standard Time, the 7th of January 2018, updated, 17:40 Eastern Standard Time, the 7th of January 2018. Antonio Conte had just finished his latest contribution to the most vicious row of the Premier League era when he was invited to start another. Was there any temptation to pick up the phone and call Jose Mourinho? He was asked. He looked ready to go again, to add to what had already been an astonishing sequence of comments, when Chelsea's director of communications stepped in. Enough had been said, it was explained, and at this point, in surveying the mouth-frothing progression from clown to senile to match-fixing to little man, who would disagree? Antonio Conte was ready for another round of verbal boxing after Chelsea's draw with Norwich. Jose Mourinho and Conte are set to meet again in February when Chelsea travel to Old Trafford. October 2016, United lose 4-0 to Mourinho's former club, and he accuses Chelsea boss Conte of humiliating him with his celebrations. March 2017, the pair square up on the touchline at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea knocked 10 Man United out of the FA Cup with a 1-0 win. July 2017, Conte says new champions Chelsea want to avoid the Mourinho season, in reference to how they collapsed after their 2015 title win. October 2017, Mourinho says other managers cry over injuries. Conte says he has to think about his team and start looking at himself, not others. November 2017, Chelsea beat United 1-0 and there is no handshake at full time. January 2018, after exchanges in press conferences, Mourinho says, "What never happened to me, and will never happen to me, is to be suspended for match fixing." Conte hits back by labeling Mourinho a little man. Except, it almost certainly will continue, particularly around the next meeting, when Manchester United host Chelsea on February 25. But what is interesting in all this bile is Conte's withering onslaught on Mourinho after a dull 0-0 FA Cup draw at Norwich is yet another instance of the Portuguese taking a beating. Indeed, just as he used to be a serial title winner, he was once also the master of the mouth. Now, he is miles behind Pep Guardiola in the table, a winner of one league crown in the past 5.5 seasons, and he has been fronted up and knocked down by Conte in this row. That is not to endorse some of Conte's messages. What he said about senile dementia was tasteless, and none of this reflects that well on either of them. But it is telling on the matter of Mourinho's diminishing aura that Conte is the first manager to stand up to him and give as much as he's taken. Arsène Wenger could never do it. Through all but nasty voyeur business and the specialist in failure episode, he still makes his retorts, usually a swipe about some point on football's aesthetics, and offers them with the odd smirk, but he has, in essence, been using Queensberry rules against a street fighter holding a broken bottle, not an innocent party by any means, just ill-equipped to get down and dirty with a man who seems drawn to that kind of chaos. The same goes for Guardiola, to a certain degree. In Spain, he hated these storms that Mourinho would whip up at Real Madrid, the fluff and noise that would cloud and shape narratives while Barcelona were busy winning the majority of trophies during their overlapping spells. Despite this exchange, Arsène Wenger has not come close to the personal insults he received. Pep Guardiola always saw Mourinho's campaign against his Barcelona as a distraction. I do not want to see two leading figures in the game conducting such an ugly row in public. It is a terrible advert for our game that Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte are showing such huge disrespect to one another. It is getting to the stage where Premier League chief Richard Scudamore should intervene and get them to calm down. Why does Mourinho have to keep talking about other managers? I have never known a manager to spend so much time focusing on his opposite numbers. His attacks on Wenger became so churlish that we stopped taking notice. Now, Conte is his victim. Given Mourinho's history, I am surprised Conte has got involved, but he is a proud man who must feel like he has been publicly ridiculed. We all warmed to Conte last season as he seemed to kick every ball on the touchline. Now results have not been going his way, he is more erratic. There is a danger this could run and run. The time is right for the Premier League to step in. I cannot remember two managers having a row of such a personal nature. Both Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho seem intent on having the last word, but this has gone too far. Normally it would take a phone call between them to sort this out, but these two may be too stubborn for that. Neither manager has come out of this well. Conte's comments about Mourinho having senile dementia were in poor taste, but Mourinho reached a new low with his dig about match fixing. That was completely below the belt and Conte was well within his rights to respond. Whether it was a deflection tactic or evidence that he has taken his eye off the ball, Mourinho would be better served concentrating on the job at hand. Mourinho has also attacked Paul Scholes. It is a far cry from when he arrived in England and used wit and humour. Are we now seeing the real Jose? But it went beyond distaste and irritation. Zlatan Ibrahimovic quite famously told the Catalan, "URS **** yourself in front of Mourinho," during one dressing room showdown. Conte is a scrapper, though. At heart, he and Mourinho have the same snappy dog in them, and where some managers can largely rise above Mourinho's midlife bitterness and swipes, Conte just isn't that sort. He touched on that during Friday's round of mudslinging, saying, "I am starting to be a bit annoyed because, talk about me, once, twice, but then the people who know me very well in Italy." He cut himself off, but the message was clear. Those who know Conte know, he will bite. Until Friday, after a season and a half at Chelsea, the 48-year-old's teeth were never on display. Now that they have come out, he is biting any lion within reach. He called Mourinho out as a hypocrite on the subject of touchline behaviour. He called him out on the wildly inflammatory claim of match fixing, of which Conte was cleared by an Italian court. He called him out as a fake on the subject of Claudio Ranieri. He called him out as a little man. David Luiz and Angus Gunn of Norwich City embrace after a forgettable 0-0 draw. It is hard to knock down Conte's arguments on any of those scores. It is easy to interpret this whole saga as a bully finally taking one on the nose. It is about one manager whose gripes and swipes stopped being fun and charming a long time ago, and the arrival of another who is evidently more than willing to slap him around at his own game. Not necessarily ideal, not what would be deemed sensible behavior. But it is fascinating in its own cheap way, and honest folk will admit it was far more interesting than this dull encounter at Carrow Road, too. Norwich had their chances but didn't take them, and Chelsea's second string got better in the second half, if you're interested.